hotel lobby, an atmosphere of polished silence and wealth, felt like a cage. Anderson Craig, focused solely on the clock ticking down to his jet departure, moved with relentless purpose. He had no time to spare, but the silence was broken by a thin, frantic squeak. Helena, a small girl wearing a dirty, oversized hoodie and clutching a mangled toy rabbit, slammed to a stop right behind him. "Mister, wait, please." Her voice was tight with desperation. Anderson paused, his hand already on the revolving door. He glanced down, annoyance flashing across his face. "I am late," he stated dismissively. "If you need help, speak to the concierge." He tried to continue walking, but Helena darted around him, her small, shaking body blocking his escape. "No. No, please, you don't understand. I need you to help me." She was breathing in shallow, ragged gasps. "Help you how?" Anderson folded his arms, the gesture radiating impatience. "I don't carry cash, and I don't." "It's not money," Helena interrupted, her voice spiking with panic. "I don't want money. I need you to give me a hug." Anderson paused. The revolving door spun slowly behind them, oblivious. The driver leaned out from the open car door, a statue of disapproval. "Excuse me?" Anderson demanded, his voice dropping dangerously low. "A hug? Right now?" Helena's eyes, huge and green, filled instantly. A single tear made a clean, sickeningly visible streak through the dirt on her cheek. "Yes, just one. I know it's weird. I know you're busy, but I need you to look like you know me, like you care." She was talking fast, a desperate spill of words. Anderson stared at her. "I don't know you. I've never seen you before. I am Anderson Craig. My time is not for games. Step aside." Helena didn't move. Instead, she took a step closer, her voice dropping to a fierce, raw whisper. "It's for him. He's watching. He has to believe it was real." "Who is watching?" Anderson's mind, trained for pattern recognition, began racing. Was this a setup? A distraction? "The one who matters," Helena cried, her eyes darting past his shoulder, scanning the opulent lobby with manic intensity. "The one who took the last one. He has to think I found another. A better one." "Another what?" Anderson grabbed her shoulder, his grip firm, though not painful. "Talk sense, child. What was the last one?" Helena flinched under his touch, her face crumpling with terror. "The last hug. The real one. If he thinks this is the last one I need, he'll stop looking for me." Without warning, she launched herself at him, wrapping her surprisingly strong arms around his perfectly tailored jacket. She pressed her face hard into the silk. "Hug me back," she pleaded, her voice muffled against the fabric. "Don't look stiff. Be the last one. Hurry. He's getting closer." Anderson froze, rigid with shock and confusion. He felt the cold terror radiating off her small body. He could hear the rapid beat of her heart against his side. The driver started to rush forward. "Stop!" Anderson barked, loud enough to echo. He didn't hug her back, but he didn't push her away either. He simply endured the impossible embrace. Helena suddenly pulled away, her eyes wide and dry, the momentary panic replaced by sharp, cold focus. She shoved a crumpled piece of paper into his hand. "This is for you. Don't open it until I'm gone. And don't you dare follow me." She spun away, darting toward the staff-only service stairs, vanishing in a split second. Anderson stood alone, the scent of fear and street dust clinging to his suit. He looked down at the paper. His fingers, trained to sign billion-dollar contracts, hesitated for a moment. He quickly unfolded the greasy paper. It was a crayon drawing of a house. Underneath, in messy, childish scrawl, Anderson's breath hitched. He knew that name. He knew what it meant. "Sir, what was that child talking about?" the driver demanded, rushing up. "Should I call the police?" Anderson crumpled the drawing in his fist. His eyes, seconds ago filled with impatience, were now alight with a cold, terrifying recognition. "No police," Anderson said, his voice flat, emotionless. "We are not going to the airport. We are going to the bridge. Cancel all meetings. Tell them I have a vital acquisition." He looked directly into the camera, his eyes burning with a sudden personal mission. Kindly hit the subscription button if this story interests you. Comment where you are watching from and share this video for your friends to watch. The luxury SUV is a capsule of frantic energy now. Anderson doesn't sit back. He leans forward, his entire focus consumed by the crumpled drawing in his hand. The paper is slick with Helena's desperation. The driver, named Ralph, navigates the city traffic with practiced aggression, the siren flashing discreetly on the dash. Ralph said, "Sir, I've confirmed the location. The bridge is an abandoned warehouse district south of the river. It's been derelict for 20 years. No utilities, no security. Just squatters and trouble." Anderson responded, "I know what it is. I own the land. Grant Industries bought the entire district 10 years ago for future development. It's an empty shell. Then what would a child be doing there? And what's this about a last hug? Sir, I insist we notify the police. This could be a kidnapping lure." Ralph echoed. Anderson finally looks up, his eyes steel cold. "If it was a lure, she wouldn't have told me not to follow her. She wouldn't have given me this," Anderson said. He slams the crayon drawing onto the center console. "She was scared of him finding her, not of me. She needed a witness, an alibi, a momentary distraction. The hug wasn't for me," Ralph said. Anderson. "It was a message to whoever was watching. I have protection now." Ralph, confused. "But why a hug? Why choose you?" "Look at me, Ralph. I'm expensive. I'm a symbol of permanence, of power." She was selling a lie for her survival. And that little rabbit. Anderson glances at his lap, where the tiny girl's desperation briefly imprinted itself on his perfect suit. She said the rabbit needed to look real. It's a coded signal, Ralph. Something she needed to confirm before she ran. Ralph takes a sharp turn, tires squealing. "Sir, we're 5 minutes out," Ralph said. The SUV slows, the polished exterior contrasting violently with the crumbling brick and shattered windows of the abandoned factories. Graffiti covers every surface, a riot of despairing color. The air is thick with dust and the smell of stagnant water. Anderson dismisses Ralph with a sharp nod. "Stay with the vehicle. No phone calls. No héroes. If I'm not back in 15 minutes, you call my security director, not the police." Anderson instructed Ralph before stepping out. The difference between the hushed lobby and this desolate ruin is staggering. He is completely exposed. He moves quickly, but cautiously. He scans the area, his sharp instincts now operating in a completely different kind of environment. He spots it first. A flash of color behind a pile of broken concrete. A tiny patch of faded pink. He approaches the rubble pile. Tucked beneath a rusty sheet of metal is the stuffed rabbit. It's soaked with something dark. Blood, perhaps? Its matted ears are flattened, and the entire toy looks thoroughly violated. Anderson kneels, ignoring the dust on his trousers. He gently picks up the rabbit. Feels cold. He notices a single small detail. A tiny, almost invisible stitch near the rabbit's worn button eye. It's a fresh, neat stitch of white thread, completely out of place against the faded pink. She needed it to look real, Anderson whispered to himself. He examines the stitch. Underneath the single thread, he feels a tiny, hard object. He carefully pulls the stitch loose. A small, tightly rolled scrap of paper falls out, even smaller than the first note. Anderson unrolls it. The handwriting is messy, hurried. It's only 3 words. It's the keys. Anderson stares at the note, his mind working at lightning speed, connecting the rabbit, the hug, and the message. This wasn't a random cry for help. This was a desperate relay. He looks up, dreading a cold knot in his stomach. Helena isn't here. She left the rabbit as a breadcrumb. Suddenly, a sound cuts through the silence. The faint, rhythmic squeak of rusty metal. It's coming from the vast, dark interior of the main warehouse structure. Anderson pocketed the note and the rabbit. He pulls out his phone, bypassing his usual contacts. He opens a heavily encrypted messaging app. Anderson typing rapidly, "Ralph, change of plan. I'm going in. Send me the archived data on Project Nightingale. Cross-reference all security reports from this site for the past 90 days. Send it now. I need eyes." He takes a breath, his face hard, ready for the confrontation. He moves toward the gaping, black entrance of the main warehouse. The squeaking stops. Total silence. Anderson steps across the threshold. The darkness inside is immediate and absolute. The dust motes dancing in the light are replaced by deep, heavy shadows. Anderson calling out, his voice echoing, "Helena? I have a rabbit." And the keys. The unmistakable, metallic sound of a heavy door slamming shut behind him. He is sealed in the pitch black. A deep, unfamiliar voice, rough as gravel, booms from the darkness above. "Keys to what, rich man? You just locked yourself into her game. And now you're the prize." The darkness was a smothering, absolute thing. Anderson stood motionless, letting his eyes adjust, listening to the drip of stagnant water and the heavy silence that followed the click of the door. Then, the voice returned, closer now, echoing off the vast, unseen metallic walls. "She's good, isn't she? The kid's got flair. Used the Billionaire as a cheap theatrical prop. Tell me, Craig, did you at least enjoy the show?" "I enjoyed the exit," Anderson called back, his voice steady despite the darkness. He felt along the rough wall behind him, confirming the door was indeed sealed. It suggests the plot is about survival, not theft. Now show yourself. I have the rabbit and her second note. I suggest we talk about what the keys unlock. A harsh, grating laugh scraped through the air. "You think you're running the show now, rich boy? You're in my house. You're the one who walked in here with a target painted on your back. And the little note? It's worthless. It was meant for the real recipient. You just intercepted a package." "You're wrong," Anderson countered, moving slowly, deliberately, using the wall as a guide. "The note was sewn into the rabbit after I touched it. She risked everything to put that message in my hands. The keys are for me to find her." A beat of silence. Then, a sudden blinding spotlight snapped on high above, bathing a small circular area in harsh white light. The light illuminated a heavy, metal chair bolted to the concrete floor. A classic interrogation setup. "Sit down, Craig. Let's confirm your role in this pathetic drama." Who is the voice, and what did Helena mean by the keys? Is Helena alive and simply bait? Or has Anderson walked straight into a trap set by the one who took the last one? Kindly subscribe as we find this out. Anderson didn't hesitate. He stepped into the light and sat on the cold metal chair. It was a calculated risk. He was buying time for Ralph to receive his message. Helena said you were watching, Anderson began, looking up into the blinding light. She needed a better one. The hug was a lie to cover a truth. What is the truth? A figure stepped into the edge of the light. Sebastian, bulky, scarred, wearing a dusty, heavy-duty work jacket. He didn't look like a kidnapper. He looked like a weary, dangerous guard. He held a pipe wrench, not a gun. You talk too much about hugging. You're asking the wrong questions. The first question is, why are you looking for keys at all? You don't even know what you're unlocking. Because a child begged me for an alibi against a predator, Anderson snapped. She left a trail. I'm following it. Now, where is she? Sebastian leaned down, his face inches from Anderson's. His breath smelled stale. She is safe, Sebastian said. For now. You're the problem. You see, the last hug, the one she kept talking about, that was her mother's. The mother left her something important. Something that unlocks this whole district. Something that stops the development. Anderson blinked, stunned. The development? My development. Sebastian gave a dry, bitter laugh. Yes, your development. Grant Industries owns the land. But Helena's mother, my sister, Rose. She had proof that the land was illegally seized decades ago. She had evidence that this entire district, the bridge, is not yours to build on. It's hers. And Rose is? Anderson pressed, the pieces snapping together with terrifying speed. Rose died 2 days ago. She was hit by a truck. Helena saw the whole thing. But before she died, she gave Helena the rabbit, told her to hide. She said, "Don't let them find the keys," said Sebastian. "Wait," Anderson said, his voice dropping to a harsh whisper. "You think I had your sister killed to clear the title on my land? I think the timing is convenient, Craig. I think a billionaire with billions on the line doesn't like loose ends. And I think Helena doesn't trust anyone but that ratty old toy. She needed a temporary distraction. A big, shiny one. And you, Mr. Craig, fit the bill perfectly," said Sebastian. Sebastian gestured with the wrench toward the darkness. "The keys aren't physical, Craig. They're a puzzle." Rose broke the evidence into 3 pieces. "Helena has the first piece, the drawing of the house. I have the second. You, by some twist of fate, have the third clue in your pocket." Anderson immediately took out the small, rolled note. "It's the keys." "This," he scoffed. "This is a placeholder. It doesn't mean anything." Sebastian's eyes gleaming in the spotlight. "Wrong. It's what Rose wrote after her final hug. It's the cipher. Now, tell me what those 3 words really mean, or you and that drawing won't leave this building." The evidence disappears when the new development breaks ground. And the deadline for construction is midnight tonight. Sebastian needs the cipher to protect the land, and Anderson needs the cipher to save Helena. What is the hidden meaning of "it's the keys"? And can Anderson figure it out before the deadline runs out? Hit the subscription button and let us know what you think about this story. Who is the voice, and what did Helena mean by the keys? Is Helena alive and simply bait? Or has Anderson walked straight into a trap set by the one who took the last one? Subscribe and let us know this in the comments section. The sight of Victoria Baker, Anderson's own chief legal counsel, standing in the rubble, radiating cold malice, shattered Anderson's last defense of his company. He was trapped, but the puzzle was complete. The cipher was solved. Anderson, standing firm, facing Victoria. It was never a game of property, Victoria. It was a cover-up. You didn't kill Rose for the land. You killed her because she found the barthium chloride contamination report, which ties Grant Industries to the illegal disposal of chemical waste on this site 10 years ago. Victoria scoffs, approaching the metal box. Corporate liability is easy to manage. A dead activist is simpler. You've wasted time, Anderson. Your little game of wits ends now. I have the key box. You have nothing but dirt on your $5,000 suit. She pointed her phone at the locked metal box bolted to the wall, the apparent location of the evidence retrieval keys. The frequency will override the cheap lock. Sebastian is useless, and Helena will be misplaced, Victoria said. Anderson ignored her. He was watching Helena. The girl was holding the rabbit, her eyes fixed on him, a fierce resolve burning through her fear. Helena, to Anderson, her voice small but clear. You missed the real key, Mr. Craig. It needed to look real because you needed to open the real lock with the real key first, before she gets to the evidence. Anderson understood. Rose hadn't hidden the keys to a bank box here. She had hidden the decoy keys. The real keys were a final, desperate message to the only person she could trust. Her sister, Rose, who was now dead. The true key was the key to Helena's safety. He pulled the stuffed rabbit, Pinky, from his pocket. He found the small, hard ridge and ripped the seam, pulling out a tiny, antique brass key. Victoria saw the key. Her practiced calm fractured. Her composure evaporated, replaced by raw, hungry panic. Victoria, screaming at her guards, "Stop him! Get the key!" The two massive security guards dropped Sebastian, who was dazed but alive, and charged toward Anderson. Anderson acted on instinct, not corporate logic but human loyalty. He tossed the brass key to the only person who could still run. Anderson, shouting, "Sebastian, take the key. Get out. The old lighthouse. Go." Sebastian, fueled by a surge of adrenaline and vengeance, caught the key and lunged toward the broken window, disappearing into the shadows of the power station. Anderson didn't run. He turned to face the guards and Victoria, buying time. Anderson, a low, chilling warning. You made your final mistake, Victoria. You relied on my private communication. Ralph didn't call the jet. He called the local news station. I used my company's prestige to bring the media here. They're already on site, waiting for the demolition. They'll film the collapse. They'll film you. Victoria paled, her phone dropping from her hand. Before she could react, Anderson snatched the phone and smashed it under his heel. The heavy, metallic crunch of the bulldozer's first major impact roared through the district. Dust and debris rained down. The ground beneath their feet began to tremble violently. The granite slab, which Victoria's phone had been controlling, began to descend rapidly, sealing the power station's main exit. Victoria screamed, realizing she was trapped with her target. The security guards grabbed Anderson. Anderson to Helena, pushing her toward Ralph. Helena, the tunnel. Ralph, the tunnels lead to the river. Go. Protect her. Ralph grabbed Helena, hoisting her onto his shoulder, and dove into the maintenance pit leading to the tunnels, just as the granite slab slammed home, shaking the entire building. Anderson, pinned by the guards, stared into Victoria's panic-stricken face. You destroyed everything. Your company. Your life. Anderson, his voice calm, resonating over the crushing metal. The company was built on a lie. I'm building a new foundation. Suddenly, a bright, blinding flash exploded through the shattered windows. followed by rapid clicks. The local news crew, having heard the demolition noise, had arrived. They were filming everything. Victoria froze in the harsh light, her face a mask of corporate terror, standing over the trapped billionaire and the two security guards. Her career and her freedom ended right there, captured live on camera. Kindly subscribe to this channel as we continue this intriguing story. The next morning, the sun rises over the coast, painting the sky in soft blues and pinks. Ralph, Sebastian, and Helena stood at the bluff overlooking the sea. Sebastian, battered but victorious, holds the antique brass key. Helena, clean and wrapped in a warm blanket, holds the repaired Pinky Rabbit. Sebastian uses the key on the decommissioned lighthouse door. It opens with a soft click. Helena softly, "That was the real one. The key to the truth." The narrow interior is empty, except for a single, heavy steel safe hidden beneath the spiral staircase. Sebastian opens it with a combination Rose had taught Helena years ago. Inside the safe are not just the original land deeds and environmental reports, but a final, sealed envelope addressed to Anderson Craig. Anderson, heavily bandaged from the crushing force of the guards, sits upright in a pristine hospital bed. The news plays silently on the television. Grant Industries stock plummets amid CEO's arrest. Victoria Baker is shown being led away in handcuffs. Sebastian and Helena walk in. Helena runs straight to the bedside and gives him a real hug. "No pretense, no zippers." "Helena, you didn't have to save me." Anderson, putting up a genuine smile. "Yes, I did. I had to pay for that first hug." He opens the envelope Rose left for him. Inside is a single sheet of paper. It's not a final report, but a handwritten will. It leaves the entire reclaimed land, the Bridge District, and the evidence that clears it to Helena's guardianship trust, with Sebastian named as trustee. But at the bottom, there is a small final note from Rose. "Dear Anderson, I knew you'd understand. You couldn't have been the last hug, because the last hug was supposed to be mine. Helena is safe now. The key to the future is hers. P.S. The lighthouse key also opens the lockbox in my kitchen. Inside are the recipes for my blueberry scones. Please share them." The next morning, the sun rises over the coast, painting the sky in soft blues and pinks. Ralph, Sebastian, and Helena stood at the bluff overlooking the sea. Sebastian, battered but victorious, holds the antique brass key. Helena, clean and wrapped in a warm blanket, holds the repaired Pinky Rabbit. Sebastian uses the key on the decommissioned lighthouse door. It opens with a soft click. Helena softly, "That was the real one. The key to the truth." The narrow interior is empty, except for a single, heavy steel safe hidden beneath the spiral staircase. Sebastian opens it with a combination Rose had taught Helena years ago. Inside the safe are not just the original land deeds and environmental reports, but a final, sealed envelope addressed to Anderson Craig. Anderson, heavily bandaged from the crushing force of the guards, sits upright in a pristine hospital bed. The news plays silently on the television. Grant Industries stock plummets amid CEO's arrest. Victoria Baker is shown being led away in handcuffs. Sebastian and Helena walk in. Helena runs straight to the bedside and gives him a real hug. "No pretense, no zippers." "Helena, you didn't have to save me." Anderson, putting up a genuine smile. "Yes, I did. I had to pay for that first hug." He opens the envelope Rose left for him. Inside is a single sheet of paper. It's not a final report, but a handwritten will. It leaves the entire reclaimed land, the Bridge District, and the evidence that clears it to Helena's guardianship trust, with Sebastian named as trustee. But at the bottom, There is a small final note from Rose. Dear Anderson, I knew you'd understand. You couldn't have been the last hug. Because the last hug was supposed to be mine. Helena is safe now. The key to the future is hers. P.S. The lighthouse key also opens the lockbox in my kitchen. Inside are the recipes for my blueberry scones. Please share them. Anderson reads the postscript and lets out a genuine, hearty laugh. The weight of his corporate empire and its guilt has finally been lifted. He looks at Helena, who is asleep holding Pinky. Anderson then said to Sebastian, "The land is hers. I want Grant Industries to purchase the Barthium-contaminated site from her trust at 10 times market value, funding her future and the cleanup. We owe her that." Sebastian nods, tears in his eyes. "You're a good man, Craig. Your father built a fortress of lies. You built a bridge." Anderson sits alone, looking out the hospital window at the city. He is broke, bandaged, and about to be embroiled in the biggest corporate scandal of the decade. But he is free. His phone rings. It's an unknown number. He answers. Anderson into the phone. "Hello?" A voice answers, deep and measured. A voice Anderson hasn't heard in years. The voice of his estranged father, the founder of Grant Industries. "You had a choice, Anderson. The company or the child. You chose poorly. You only unlocked one key. The real key to the Grant legacy. That's locked inside me. And you'll never find it." The line goes dead. Anderson looks at the phone, then at the single, antique brass key lying on his bedside table. He knows the fight isn't over. He saved Helena, but he now has to face the founder of his empire. The real game has just begun.